Hey, welcome everyone back to the Gitty Gang Show. After a short hiatus, I'll tell you what, there's been an awful lot going on here in the land of Gitty and on Cigar Box Nation and out there in the larger homemade instrument world, and we are glad to be back with you. This is our first week in a while where either somebody's not on vacation or quarantined or something, that we pretty much have a full crew going here at Gitty. So we're glad you're with us. Already seen some of our favorite names out in... Kim's on vacation, that's true. But, you know, she's not often on the Gitty Gang Show. So,
yeah, that's true.
Some of our favorite names out there: Michael Capato, Rob Roble, me own dear mum, Janet Baker Hughes, Deborah Lamanna, which presumes that Louie's out there somewhere too, Tom Petrie. And that's just Facebook. I'd have to mash more buttons to get over to YouTube. I will do that. Anyway, we've got some good videos to share today, some what we feel to be exciting news and development, some original songs, all sorts of good stuff. Whole bunch of great videos, including one from the master himself, the GOAT, the greatest of all time perhaps, of homemade instruments, Mr. Jim Morris, playing an antique fiddle that I believe Shane sent down to him, and Jim kind of restored it and made it playable again. 120 years old. That's pretty darn old. A few announcements before we get too deep in. I've got my script here because there's so much good stuff to get through. Today we are in this area of the world we used to consider, or still consider, the official kickoff of what is referred to as the High Holy Season, and that is the month-ish or so leading up to the High Holy Day itself, St. Patrick's Day. And the reason that February 11th was the unofficial start of the High Holy Season is because today is the birthday of Charlie Boyle, my good friend Charlie Boyle, who left us a couple years ago. So we're going to do one of Charlie's favorite Irish songs. I didn't warn you about this, but a little bit later in the show we're going to break out the Moonshiner, because if that isn't one we can do off the cuff, then we're in a heap of trouble.
It's just like Bring It.
Yeah, you know, how hard can it be?
Right? Yeah.
So that kind of leads us in to something that many of you have already noticed, I think, from posts that I've made or that Danny's made on Facebook. We have, despite many protestations by me over the years that I never wanted to be in another band again, Danny and I have formed a band, a duo. We're calling it
Eastwood Station.
Eastwood Station. And what's that named after?
It named after the depot that used to be in my hometown. It was called my hometown is Lebanon, Maine, and it was renamed Eastwood because the Boston and Maine also had a station in Lebanon, New Hampshire, and they didn't want to confuse the two. There. Yep, so they called it Eastwood.
And you also have an original song called Eastwood Station. Yep. So we thought it would be a great name for our little band. Gonna have all sorts of different kinds of music that we do, but train songs and railroad-themed songs I think are gonna be the core. So a railroad-themed name seemed to make sense. We had our first gig last Thursday, just a few yards away down at the little microbrewery, Back Hill Beer Company, that's right downstairs from CB Gitty headquarters. Played two sets, a 2-hour show, and people seem to like it. So we got another one coming up a week from yesterday, so Thursday the 17th, that we are billing as the kind of the kickoff of St. Patrick's Month, because it's exactly 1 month before the High Holy Day. Don't know yet whether or not we are going to try to live broadcast it. Still figuring out a lot of stuff, not just the music, but the equipment and all of that, and adding that one extra layer of it being live on the internet is maybe not something we're quite ready for yet until we get our sets nailed down a little bit tighter. But it's going to be a good time. Also in band news, yesterday we finally finished recording the songs for our album. We've got 12 tracks that are going to go on the album, 12 songs. 9 of them are originals, 3 of them are covers. And Yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
I'm excited about that. I got them all mixed and everything. I think I got to work on them a little bit more over the weekend. We got some cover art for the CD. We got all sorts of stuff happening. So that is all coming soon on the Eastwood Station front. I'll tell you, it feels good to kind of be getting more musically active again.
Yeah.
I've personally kind of gone through a long motivational slump, actually, and I feel like that is coming to an end. And that is a good thing, and you'll see later in today's show, I'm going to be showing off a couple of things that have come from that. Yeah, there's some things that have come from that, so stay tuned. For now, though, we're going to take a little break from the talking and get right to Jim Morris playing that 120-year-old fiddle that he got put together, back together and playable that Shane sent down to him. And then we'll be back with you to do a song of our own. There we are. Well, thank you, Jim, for letting us use that. He had uploaded it to YouTube, and anytime we see something good that Jim uploads, we always after him, like, hey, can we use that on the Gitty Gang Show? And I think he's always said yes, so we appreciate it. So Danny and I want to do a song now that I only rediscovered yesterday. This is one that we wrote together while riding on the Downeaster Amtrak. We took a run from Dover, New Hampshire up to Brunswick, Maine and back, and kind of jotted this, or no, was this on the Conway?
You know, I don't remember.
I don't either, but
it was before.
It was on a train.
Yeah.
And anyway, I was going through a list of original songs and such yesterday and found it. So I'm going to be trying something new while playing. You'll hear some thumping. That's from this little box right here that I'll be talking about in a little bit. Hopefully it comes through well. Hopefully it isn't too loud, too thumpy. Because it is, of course, a stomp box, and it's supposed to sound like a bass drum coming through. I'm still practicing and getting used to using it, maintaining a steady beat with my right foot, while also playing and doing all of that. So we'll all learn together. And say in the comments how you think it sounds once we get going. If it needs to be higher, be lower. Anyway, this song is called Rhythm of the Rails. It moves along at a pretty good clip. Mm-hmm. Ready?
Yep.
1, 2, 3, 4. I feel it in my bones when I hear that whistle home. Those steel wheels are turning in my soul. When I head on down the track, I ain't never coming back. I ain't
firebox glowing like the setting sun. Well, there's cold smoke on the breeze and a rustle in the trees. You've got the highball, let the engine run. Oh, listen, can you hear that old whistle sounding clear? Those drivers rumbling like a thunder roll. I can feel it in my bones and it won't leave me alone. I got the rhythm of the rails down in my soul. Take another one. The train is rolling fast and the time is here at last to leave this old rat race behind. I'm going far away and far away I'll stay. She's rolling fast and heading out on time. Oh, listen, can you hear that old whistle sounding clear? The driver's rumbling like a thunder roll. I can feel it in my bones and it won't leave me alone. I got the rhythm of the rails down in my soul. One more now. Oh, listen, can you hear that old whistle sounding clear? The driver's rumbling like a thunder roll. And I feel it in my bones and it won't leave me alone. I got the rhythm of the rails down in my soul. I got the rhythm of the rails down in my soul. All right, well, hope you like that. Can't hear the stomp box. All right, so
Marty
you're,
said he could hear it.
we're going to do an experiment now. Presumably you can hear it there, right? I see the audio going, thump, thump, thump. So maybe it was just that with us going full blast, it doesn't come
Marty
through.
did say he could just hear it, so it might be a little low.
Well, it turns out I got the magic button over here. So on the next song, we'll see if that little boost there brings it through. Jimbo says he hears it. All right, good. So that was Rhythm of the Rails, an original that we co-wrote. Perhaps we'll trot that one out in concert one of these days, but we appreciate that we got to roll it out for you here today, because the Gitty Gang, you folks who tune in to this show, lately I can't really say every week because we've been having some hiati, but you that tune in every time we go live, we sure appreciate it. The names Jimbo Burke popping up out there and everybody, Sue Messias and everybody else, you know, we love you and we appreciate the support. So speaking of people we love, we got another video from Kale to roll out. You know which one? No?
No.
It is Give It Up. Kale's going to be doing Give It Up, which is a song by whom? Anybody know? Give It Up? Well, we're about to find out. So this is Kale of Pornis Studios doing Give It Up, and we'll be back in a few minutes.
Well, howdy, folks. Happy Sunday morning. I know we just got through the party season. I mean, there was Christmas parties, there was New Year's parties, there was Hanukkah parties, there was probably everything else parties. But anyway, everybody parties, right? And a party involves music, a party involves dancing. And you know something I noticed? Every time you go to one of those parties, it turns into a party as soon as someone plays Casey and the Sunshine Band. I'm just telling you, it doesn't matter if it's your boogeyman or play that funky music, shake your booty, whatever. It turns into a party. People dance, get crazy. And this is not one of their biggest tunes, but this is one of my favorites, a little Give It Up for Sunday morning. And Casey's a big band. I mean, I think they had 9 to 12 people at a lot of the, at their peak. And I'm going to be doing it as a one-man show, so we'll see how it translates. Here's a little Give It Up for Sunday morning. Baby, give it up, give it up. Baby, give it up. Na 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 na. Baby, give it up, give it up. Baby, give it up. Na 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 na. Baby, give it up, give it up. Baby, give it up. Everybody wants you. Everybody wants your love. I just want to make you mine, all mine. Na 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 na. Baby, give it up, give it up. Baby, give it up. Na 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 na. Baby, give it up, give it up. Baby, give it up. Na 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 na. Baby, give it up, give it up. Baby, give it up. Na 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 na. Baby, give it up, give it up. Baby, give it up. Sunday morning.
So did we figure out which song that we weren't able to hear it here in the studio? Our monitor feedback situation is not currently working. But anyway, thank you, Kale, for submitting that. You can see, as usual, we're playing the old time clock guitar, 6-string guitar here on stage. It's not the only 6-string we have. There are other ones, the one-way ticket, steamer trunk guitar, the old Casey Jones. But for some reason, this is the one we tend to reach for, just almost by default. And this is the one that we played at that gig we did last Thursday downstairs, and realized fairly quickly that playing into a microphone isn't awesome, because this guitar didn't have a pickup in it. Sounds good acoustically. That's just coming through the little lapel mic I've got on here. Sounds good acoustically, but to really be stage ready, it needs a pickup. So some of you, I think, tuned in to that short little video I did a couple of days ago from out at my workbench. When I had the old Frankenstein, it was some open heart surgery going on old Frankenstein here. I took it all apart, took the strings off, took the time clock face off, got to re-experience just how wacky it is inside there. The hack job I did when trying to put this thing together originally. But I listened to some good advice from none other than Uncle Shane. Shane Spiel, turns out he's been doing this kind of thing for a long time, and he strongly recommended putting a preamp in it. Originally, I was gonna do some kind of thing with, piezos and then a harness with a capacitor on the tone pot. Shane said, why struggle? If you really want it to be stage ready, concert grade, put the preamp in it. I was like, all right. So I did, powered preamp. I got 2 piezos, our red dot stick-on piezos in here, and rather than just rely on that double-sided tape that comes on them, I mixed up a batch of 2-ton epoxy and used that to adhere them to the back of this old time clock face, and then of course the output jack. So I'm going to plug it in now, again kind of just taking a running stab at the levels and how this is going to come through. Michael Capato noting, yeah, went with the preamp, had to use a Dremel with a cutoff wheel to cut through this metal safety first sign. But the reason this safety first sign, I attached it in the first place, is that there was a preamp cutout in the side of this guitar originally that had been pulled out by the time I first got it. So it wasn't too big of an issue. Of course, then the screw holes didn't match up, and I had to hot glue in some supports and all sorts of good stuff. But the good news is it seems to have all worked. So let's plug her in here. You might hear a thump when I do. And so now you're getting the sound of the guitar. You'll get some through. Actually, I'll turn my mic down too, and then just strum it a little bit. So, what we have here now is a cool looking guitar, homemade, at least partly homemade. It started as an old Alvarez. It now has pickups in it. It can be plugged into a PA, played on stage for a much more consistent sound that doesn't keep you tied to a physical microphone right in front of you. So, I'm going to turn this back down because I don't want to use it for our other songs plugged in because I'm not 100% sure about those levels, and I don't want to screw up. So, reimagining the Frankenstein. Got her all put back together. New strings, nice bright sounding phosphor bronze strings that are, of course, Southbound string brand that we sell here at CB Gitty. And that's really about it. Didn't do anything else funky. Originally, I had been thinking about putting a Gitty Bucker, a 6-string Gitty Bucker on there in the bridge position, but I don't know. The acoustic sound is really what I was looking for. So yeah, that is the Frankenstein version 2. And like I mentioned earlier, taking that initiative to install the pickup in there directly related to getting back into playing live music. Wouldn't have happened otherwise. Same with this stomp box here. I built that a little bit earlier this week. I'll talk a little bit more about exactly what I did in the third half of today's show. But first, we've got another video. This one's Steve Holiday showing off a build, I believe. Let's take a look at what Steve's got out there, and then we'll be back with you.
This is a build from last summer that I really like. It's a very simple build. It's walnut neck, straight through with the dowel just notched down underneath the top of the box. Notched for the headstock. It's got fishing line strings and turned pegs. The peg holes are turned and tapered with a Harbor Freight reaming tool. Tapered ream. It's a Cesta box. Got several of these. The box has a good acoustic sound. I think it sounds somewhere between a uke and a mandolin, maybe. Sort of a little bit of a mandolin sound. I actually use it quite a bit, but it's mostly for playing in G. It's in an odd tuning. It's G, D, G, A. And that's like double C banjo tuning, except this you'd have a capo here at the 5th fret, so be the same notes there. The 1, 5, and 6 chords, very easy to get to, but what's even better is because your 1 chord's right there, you can get to any chord by barring it and up 1, but to get to the minor chord, any major chord would be here, but its minor would be right here. So it makes it easy to play along and find a lot of different chords with it. So anyway, thought I would show it off a little bit.
Fantastic ways.
Hey, we're back. I was trying to look at the comments on YouTube. Eduardo Salazar mentioned a little too much bass, perhaps, on the guitar. Yeah, well, that's a good thing about this preamp. It's got the 4-channel, or not 4-channel, the 4-band EQ, so I can bring that bass down and cut that right out, you know? So someone asked, this preamp, yes, is the one we sell at CB Gitty. It's the more flatter profile. You can't see it. I can see it well. Trust me, it's the flatter profile one. It worked great on this guitar, and it works great on the flat-sided cigar boxes too. Now you got to have one that's thick enough. You want a couple inches of side panel there to fit it in. But yeah, it's a good thing. And thank you to Shane for basically browbeating me into setting it up this way. So I'm quite happy with it. Speaking of things I'm quite happy with, that last video that we sent out there, Steve Holiday reminded me that the 10 finalists of the New Orleans Cigar Box Guitar Festival video contest are in the process of being selected. And the reason Steve reminded me is that he submitted a video to that contest. So we are not yet allowed to announce either the 10 finalists or the 3 winners because they haven't been chosen yet. But should be by March 1st. We'll be able to share some of those videos, some awesome work in what people submitted to that. So even though we weren't able to do the actual in-person festival this year, it's so cool to see people creating and submitting their creative videos for this contest that we do. It's Zeppa asking if we have violin preamps. Not at present. We have ukulele preamps, and these, although, don't tell anybody, Danny, this is kind of a secret, going to be making a big move soon in the realm of violin stuff. So stay tuned to CB Gitty, and it could just be that there will soon be a violin preamp available. We hope. All right. Someone else asked, I think Jim Morris asked, would a magnetic pickup ghosted underneath this time clock face work?
No.
Wow. It's not usually that vehement. And someone pointed out that people have used them under steel license plates and they work, so I think so. As I understand it, the way magnetic pickups work is that they magnetize the strings, and then the strings moving over the coil is what creates the little bits of voltage that the amplifier works with. So with those powerful rare earth magnets that are used on Gitty Buckers, my guess is that it would create a magnetic field from part of this steel plate here, and then that would pass over to the strings, and that it would, in fact, work. I'm not going to take this back apart to put one in, but you all are free to do whatever you want and try it out and check back with us, and it'll be great. So, yes, stay tuned for the initial results, and then, of course, the final announcement about that New Orleans Cigar Box Guitar Festival video contest. Very exciting stuff. Very exciting. So we've got a video now. Our buddy Michael Capato, who is out there right now, sent in a video of a fretboard clamping tip that he wants to share with everybody. We love seeing this kind of video, these little how-to, people sharing hints and tricks and tips that they use in their own workshops when building instruments. We love it. Please, if you've got something, even if you think it's the simplest little thing, make a quick video and send it in. We'd love to share it with everybody. That is really what this whole community is all about.
I'll have a lesson from Louie next week, his clawhammer lesson.
Clawhammer lesson from Louie, that is awesome. Hey, speaking of fiddle stuff, she doesn't know it yet, but as soon as we're ready, I want to get our good friend Betsy Heron in here to give us a introduction to the fiddle. How to hold the bow, how to hold the fiddle, like how it works. Because I feel like fiddle, we got one of Jim's hanging on the wall there. It's a difficult instrument, but a fun instrument, and I think it's a great step for those of us who have been building guitar-like things for a long time. It's time to try the fiddle, I think. The time quick approaches. So anyway, here's Michael Capato's fretboard clamping tip. Then we're going to come back, we're going to sing the Moonshiner for Charlie Boyle, and by God, I don't even know what else, so stay tuned.
Hey everyone, it's Michael Capato, Revy here in Detroit with another Revy's Quick Tip video. They say in guitar making, and I think woodworking in general, that you can never have enough clamps. I don't know about you, but this happens all the time when I'm trying to put a fretboard on a guitar. I end up cursing the creator for not giving me one more arm and one more hand to help hold it in place. Has this happened to you the minute you start laying out and clamping your fretboard on with the wet glue, it starts to shift? And have you actually ended up clamping them all, pulling the clamps off the next day and finding out that your fretboard is just slightly off? There's a lot of tips and tricks, and I'm sure you may even have a few of your own. And I've tried a few, putting a little bit of salt down to stop the friction. That doesn't work that well. Sometimes if I already have my holes for my fret markers pre-drilled, I'll drill into the wood of the neck too, and I'll use little pieces of toothpick or thumbtack or nails. So there's a lot of ways to do it, but I've been doing this for about 3 or 4 years, and this trick is foolproof. All you need are 2 of these plastic spring clamps. These are the bulk clamps you can get at Home Depot. I've even seen the blue ones. I've tried it with the metal clamps that are similar, and I'm not a big fan of those. I think it's too easy to damage your neck with them. What I like about this brand is it has these little ratchets, and there's like a little gap here. So here's the trick. So basically you would just run your bead of glue on your fretboard and get it ready to go. And then set it down real quick. And then watch this. Take your clamp on this end. And you notice it's still loose here. Take your clamp on this end. And now your fretboard is laid up. Just make sure you get even marks. As long as you're aiming for the notch at the bottom, right now your fretboard is perfectly aligned with it. And then, you just start running your clamps down as usual. And then what I do is flip those 2 clamps around and use them to clamp onto the fretboard and add more clamps as needed. So that's it, a quick tip to make your build day go smoother. If you like it, I have many more, and there's many more to come on my various social media.
Well, thank you for sharing that with us, Michael. Always good to see how other people are doing stuff, because you never know what you might learn. So speaking of learning things, I did not learn this from Charlie Boyle, but I certainly learned some things about how to perform it from Charlie Boyle. So this is the Moonshiner to get us in the mood for the high holy season leading up to St. Patrick's Day. And by God, sing the chorus if you know it. I'm a rambler, I'm a gambler, I'm a long way from home. And if you don't like me, well, leave me alone. I'll eat when I'm hungry, I'll drink when I'm dry. And if moonshine don't kill me, I'll live till I die. I've been a moonshiner for many's a year, and I've spent all me money on whiskey and beer. I'll go to some hollow, I'll set up my still, and I'll make you a gallon for a 10-shilling bill. Hey! I'm a rambler, I'm a gambler, I'm a long way from home, and if you don't like me, well, leave me alone. I'll eat when I'm hungry, I'll drink when I'm dry, and if moonshine don't kill me, I'll live till I die. I'll go to some hollow in this country, 10 gallons of wash I can go on a spree. No women to follow, the world is all mine. I love none so well as I love the moonshine. Hey! I'm a rambler, I'm a gambler, I'm a long way from home, and if you don't like me, well, leave me alone. I'll eat when I'm hungry, I'll drink when I'm dry, and if moonshine don't kill me, I'll live till I die. Yep. Ashley, we need you to do a whistle solo here. Try me. Bless all moonshiners and bless all moonshine.
gambler, I'm a long way from home. And if you don't like me, well, leave me alone. I'll eat when I'm hungry, I'll drink when I'm dry. And if moonshine don't kill me, I'll live till I die. One more time. I'm a rambler, I'm a gambler, I'm a long way from home. And if you don't like me, well, leave me alone. I'll eat when I'm hungry, I'll drink when I'm dry. And if moonshine don't kill me, I'll live till I die.
Fill them up again, lads. Charlie Boyle would have been 73 years old today. So, we've got a video now for you from William Edward White. He's going to be playing some hobo uke jazz, so looking forward to hearing that. Then we're going to come back, going to do another original, going to talk about this stomp box, and then we're going to get into what's the deal with Spiel for this week, where Shane, will also do some talking about stomp boxes. So here's William Edward White with some hobo uke jazz. We'll be right back. Yeah,
Things that make you go.
Well, thank you, William Edward White, for sending that in. We do appreciate it.
Yeah, that was awesome. Any more you want to send our way is great.
Yeah, buddy, absolutely. So we're going to have another go at an original here that I just wrote earlier this week. It's got a little bit of a bluesy feel, and the name of the song is Sycamore Line. There is a street in the city I was born in, Sandusky, Ohio, named Sycamore Line, and there's just something about that name that always struck me. It rolls off the tongue. It's got a good ring to it. And I've been wanting to put some sort of song together around that, and this is what I came up with this week. You might it sounds a little bit like Deep River Blues, sounds a little bit like Deep Ellum, even a touch of Folsom Prison in there, which itself sounds like those older songs. So anyway, here we go. Remember how it goes? Get this foot stomper going. Gonna quit all my rambling, gonna quit drinking booze. I'm gonna quit all my gambling, but I can't quit these blues. Oh, I'm going back home, boys. Don't you know I'm feeling fine? And I'll find all my favorite yesterdays down that sycamore line. On that sycamore line, boys, those cannonballs fly. Those triangle whistles bring a tear to my eye. Well, I'm going back home, boys. Don't you know I'm feeling fine? And I'll find my favorite yesterdays down that sycamore line. Taking us down the line, Dan. Well, it's been 20 years since I've seen that old town. I catch the next train going and I'll ride it on down. Well, I'm going back home, boys. Don't you know I'm feeling fine? And I'll find all my favorites yesterdays down that sycamore line. Well, they ran through my memory, right down through my soul. I hear that whistle blow, and Lord, I can't resist the cold. Well, I'm going back home, boys. Don't you know I'm feeling fine? Now I'll find all my favorite yesterdays down that sycamore line. Take us again, Danny. Well, I asked my sugar mama, saying, don't you wanna go? The whistle blew the answer, crying, no, no, no. Well, I'm going back home, boys. Don't you know I'm feeling fine? And I'll find all my favorite yesterdays down that sycamore line. Yeah, I'll find all my favorite yesterdays down that sycamore line. Woo! Yeah, sycamore line. I almost got 80% of those words right.
Some love out there for the stomp box.
Yeah, you could hear the stomp box that time. Guys, all it takes is the volume button, folks. I tell you, it's that easy. Turn it up. So, anyway, glad everything's going great. Everybody chatting out there, having a good old time. We do appreciate you. I tell you what, coming back after a week or two away feels good. Tell you what, feels good. All right, so I'm going to put this here down, and I'm going to turn the stomp box down for while I'm moving it around here so it's not thumping and bumping. So, here it is. It's a little bigger possibly than it absolutely needs to be, but the reason for that is that I had this box, basically the outer frame of it, trapezoidal shape, I built it several years ago when I was experimenting with trying to make a kalimba. It was about twice as high, and I put it on the big bandsaw and cut it in half because I wanted something thick enough to take yet another one of these nifty preamps that we sell here at CB Gitty, because again, on Shane Spiel's recommendation, said you got to have a preamp. Grab that board there, Danny. My first prototype is right here. This is basically in this piece here. I used a Forstner bit, mounted 3 piezos in there, got the output jack. no preamp. And it works, but it didn't, you got to tap it pretty loud. You got to crank the PA way up to get the sound I wanted. So Shane said, stop screwing around and just use the preamp like I told you. And he was right. So now I've got this box. I've got a pretty thin top on it. I used 3mm birch plywood that we use for a lot of our kits and such. But the goal is with the preamp, the bass all the way up, everything else all the way down. The goal is to not have to stomp it, even though it's called a stomp box. I don't want to be wailing away on it. I just want to be able to lightly tap it. And that's what I was doing through that last song, lightly tapping, trying to maintain an even tap. Shane had pointed out to me that it'll take some getting used to be able to do that consistently for a 2+ hour gig, and he's right. I can already feel my calf muscles getting a little tired. So I got some endurance training to do to be able to get through a show with this. I added some extra touches, the hobo sticker, of course, but some nice heavy-duty metal box corners. I've got a handle here for carrying it, and I added some things here on the end to try to help protect the face of the preamp. Can't really see, but I need to do more. I think, glue and screw a couple of wooden strips that'll stick out a good 3/4 of an inch past where the preamp is, so that even if this thing is dropped, it'll protect that plastic face of the preamp from getting mashed up. So that is the Eastwood Station stomp box. And another reason for the thin top, it'll probably have to be replaced eventually, but it has a little bit of resonance itself. And my hope is that the piezo's will pick that up and make it even more thumpy, because your goal with using a stomp box, now if you're Shane Spiel, your goal is for it to hit the audience like what? A combat boot to the chest is Shane's favorite statement about that. We're not quite looking for that level of sonic disturbance, but yeah, it's supposed to sound like you've got a bass drum somewhere just going thump, thump, thump in beat with the song. So that is my take on a stomp box. Now we've got What's the Deal with Spiel. Looks like our good buddy Al Hamilton part of the launch here, and Shane's going to talk about stomp boxes because he's been building them and using them a lot longer than this particular guy. So here we go. What's the deal with Spiel?
Hey everybody, it's Gentleman Al Hamilton. You are about ready to watch the next episode of What's the Deal with Spiel? Welcome to What's the Deal with Spiel. My name's Shane Spiel, and we're going to talk about foot stompers today. I've got a really cool one to show you, and we're going to talk about what's cool about it and what sucks about it. All week long, I've been I always deal with Ben Gitty Baker. I've been talking to him about his own foot stomper as he prepares to build his band Eastwood Station. He came to me saying that he wanted to add foot percussion. Well, I've been using foot stompers for years, and thank God I don't have to use one anymore because I have a drummer in my band. But many years ago, I was a one-man band, and I needed a foot stomper. I needed something to give me a bass drum percussion, and I've been known to throw a microphone into a hard shell guitar case, or I put a piezo disc on a plank of wood, and it got to the point where I continued to develop till I came up with my favorite way. It's in my book, Making Poor Man's Guitars, and if you go there, I show how to make the best foot stomper I have ever had. And the trick to it is adding a preamp. That way you can dial in the tones and everything else. It's in the book, making poor man's guitars. Once this segment's done, Ben, tell them about how good this foot stomper sounds. But I pulled out of my closet an old design, an old foot stomper design that I made with the late Ted Crocker. And this was before I was really doing a lot of performing, and I had this idea. Have you ever gone on your guitar, on an electric guitar with pickups, and just slapped the strings and you hear it make a thud? Well, I thought, wow, that'd be a great idea to make a foot stomper. So I was over at Ted Crocker's for one weekend, and we made this. This is what we called the Terraplane floorboard. Now I have the top taken off so I can show you what's inside here. And let's take a look at this. Now it does have volume and tone on the side here. I have it plugged into my Marshall. So it gives you a nice mid-range stomp. You get too close to a monitor, it will feedback. You can turn the tone down, and it's a little more bassy. It was a good idea. It wasn't the best idea. It's not as good as the one I showed in my book. Let me show you what's in here. If you take this off, it's just an empty little wedge, and we have underneath here a bass guitar pickup from a Fender Jazz bass. There's a little piece of foam to protect it, and then what goes on top is a steel license plate. The magnetic pickup from the Fender Jazz bass pickup actually gets the vibrations from the steel license plate and gives you your thump. So it was a cool idea. I used this in a couple concerts, and there were some problems with it. First of all, you really got to kick the crap out of this in order to get a good sound. Unless everything is cranked way up high, and it will start to feedback. If you can get away from the feedback, it works. But I found, in fact, you see the license plate started to dent because I was just hammering the hell out of it. So that was one of the drawbacks. The second drawback was the shape. I figured, oh, cool. It looks like a pedal. My foot will be going like this, and that's perfect. You know what I found out? When this is flat on the floor, this brings my foot up at an angle to start with. Then I need to bring my foot up even higher to bring it down in order to hit it. And this just, if you're doing a 1 or 2 hour show, this will destroy your calf muscles. All the muscles in your legs, you feel it because your foot is already elevated, and now it has to elevate even more. If you're going to do a foot stomper, you want it flat. You want it as flat as possible so your foot is just raising up normally and going down. So those were the two problems I had with this, and that's why it was a cool piece, but it never made it past a couple gigs. A few weeks ago, I posted this guitar and information about it. This is Ted Crocker's Six Banger. In fact, I have t-shirts out with this over at guitarrags.com. I did t-shirts and a really cool coffee mug. And Gary Fan saw my post on Facebook about it, and he said, wow, I had no idea that Ted Crocker had passed. He said, I really wish I could have bought one of those Terraplane floorboards from him. I kept bugging him about it, and he just never could build one. Gary, I'm sending this out to you. I'm gonna just mail this and give this to you. You wanted one all your life. You can have this one. It is better for you to have it than it to be in my closet. So thank you for commenting on that. When it comes to weird foot stompers, here's the weirdest one. I've shown this one off in videos before. This is what I call the John Henry, and this was made by Pete Regan, and you have a railroad spike and a hammer here. Hey Gitty, you're doing railroad songs. I think you may need one of these. It's brilliant. I got dust everywhere. This thing was laying around. Mainly because these chains in the back just add an extra clank to it. So this has been on several of my albums, and this will be in our upcoming live show. You guys have been asking about Shane Spiel Snake Oil Band. We have not broken up. We are on hiatus. We are rebuilding the entire band. It is going to be a theatrical show. So, in all honesty, I've been turning down so many gigs until we can basically clear out my garage. I've got my son's 1962 Corvair in there that needs to go to the shop. And once the Corvair is out, we're going to be building the band and turning it into something you would see in a theater. So that's the Shane Spiel Snake Oil Band update. It's funny, if I lean to my right, we'll talk about that another time. Something's coming. So, this is a short What's the Deal with Spiel. As you can tell, I've got a simple camera today. I don't have all the bells and whistles, but that's okay. Build your own foot stomper. If you're doing solo shows or duets or whatever, the plans are in here, Making Poor Man's Guitars. CB Gitty sells this. You can get an autographed copy at stubbyslide.com. And also, CB Gitty has the parts pack for the foot stomper in here. All the major projects in here have CB Gitty parts packs, so make sure you check those out as well. Just remember, you only have a couple days left to enter the contest to win this. This is the Gitty Bucker Test Guitar. 3-string electric cigar box guitar, volume and tone. One of the original CB Gitty Gitty Buckers is loaded into this. And go build something. Bye-bye.
So we went right into that video that Jimbo Burt submitted for us of Kodiak Heathcore there playing the guitar from the Pennsylvania Fest. So thank you for sending that in. Jim, thank you, Shane, for doing a great What's the Deal with Spiel once again. And thank all of you for joining us. We have once again squandered a perfectly good hour of your Friday afternoon with the 206th, I think, Gitty Gang Show. Thank you all for joining us. And thank you also for the feedback. It was mostly on, I flipped over to YouTube there, and people saying the stomp box was a little too loud. That shows how difficult it is to dial things in for this particular way we're broadcasting to Facebook, because I don't really have a true monitor of what you're hearing. I mean, I can see what it sounds like a little bit, but we are never 100% sure what you're hearing. That's why we ask so often, like, how does this sound? Is this working? during live shows with the PA system with monitors set up. Be able to dial it in a lot easier. So anyway, thank you for playing along. Speaking of playing along, this is the Gitty Gang Show theme song. And if you want to play along, it's in the key of G. If you have an open G tuned thing, it's just G, open, then C up on the 5th fret, open G again, then a little bit of 7th fret D, background. I got it so easy. Play and sing along if you know it, and even if you don't, just stand up and holler.
Not 2, but 3. We come to you live every Friday afternoon at 3. And if we don't see you, how sad we're gonna be. Well, all you need is a stick in a box and some strings, and maybe a violin bow singing. All you need is a stick, a box, and some strings, maybe a violin bow. I dropped my pick. Put them all together, you know they're gonna ring. Good thing I don't need it. Well, it's the Gitty Gang Show. The Gitty Gang Show.